we are really being plugged into a new world. And this is officially the age of Aquarius that we are stepping into. And not only that, this new moon this week is also turning up the voltage a little bit past the normal range of where it should be. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Austin if you're newer here, and I know it's been a minute, but I am back, and I want to say that I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to go ahead and get started and jump straight into this horoscope this week. There's a lot of energy going on this week. We have a new moon happening in Aquarius, and this new moon is going to be a big new moon. Now, if we back up for a second, we did just have the sun come into Aquarius, right? And it did conjunct Pluto, and that was the first time that we've experienced this in our lives. Last year, it got very close to happening, right? The sun conjuncted Pluto in Capricorn at 29 degrees last year, right? And then the sun came into Aquarius, and then Pluto followed a little bit after. So we kind of got a feel of what that was, but we didn't really get the cycle of that sun-Pluto conjunction in Aquarius happening. But it has officially happened, and it has brought us into this new world. And this new moon will be the moon that plugs us in fully to the new world, or if you want to say the age of Aquarius. And this new moon, and we're going to go through just this week, this new moon will be on, let me just kind of double check here because I don't have it'll be on the 29th. But this will be the astrology from the 27th until February 2nd. But this new moon will trine Jupiter, and Jupiter is a planet that does deal with positivity, growth, expansion, opportunity. And so this new moon is offering us a chance to expand and grow. Now, Jupiter still is retrograde, right? So there's still a lot of things that we're trying to figure out and make sense out of, so that way we can fully know what we're growing into, or what we're stepping into, or what we want to expand more into in our lives. But I think this trine is still good. I mean, I would love to have a Jupiter trine regardless, even if it's retrograde or not. But I think it is offering us a positive way forward into this new world. There's a lot of underlying tension I do get, though. I mean, you can pick that up already in the world. There is this underlying tension. And I think it has a lot to deal with, especially with this new moon, because this new moon does have some semi-squares in the mix. This new moon will semi-square Venus and Neptune. Venus more exactly, and then Neptune, it's still a semi-square. And then the Pluto is still semi-square Saturn, and Mercury as well with this new moon will be semi-square Saturn too. So Mercury deals with our intellect, the way we understand things. It deals with communication, our thought process, our ability to make new connections, right? Pattern recognition. But it is square to all that Pisces energy where, this Aquarius, where really all this Aquarius energy with this new moon that is there in Aquarius is square that Pisces energy. And Pisces is about awareness. It's about deepening your awareness. So yes, it does deal with things like spirituality. It deals with depth, reflection, imagination, the ideal. Sometimes Pisces energy can be a bit confusing if there's like a square or a semi-square. So there kind of is this confusing energy about, like, I want to say it's more so us trying to, like, we're having to understand it more. There's still more to understand, but I think for the most part, this new moon is helping us build upon our foundation, or continue to lay the foundation for the future. But there still kind of is this awkward phase, if you want to say. And Uranus will go direct this week as well. So, and the ruling planet of Aquarius is Uranus, so this is a big deal. Right, and Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus does deal with prosperity. It deals with our values, money, So you're probably going to see some new changes happening that are very Aquarian, right? Because Aquarius deals with innovation around, possibly the monetary system or, currency. But when it comes to your personal life, this is more so about, how you can, Aquarius, how you can innovate and continue to prosper, but in new, unconventional ways that this new world is really wanting us to take. And now this new moon will have Mars square Chiron. Now it's interesting with this new moon, right? Because you always look at the seeds that are planted with the new moon and where everything is, of how this cycle will develop and mature when we get to the full moon. But I think here that we do have Mars squaring Chiron with this new lunation cycle that we're stepping into. And it's off by 2 degrees, so it's not a very hard square, but even 2 degrees is a bit of a square. So squares does bring tension, difficulty. Mars is in Cancer. It's still retrograde. Mars hasn't come direct yet. And so Mars is at fall in Cancer. So right now we're kind of feeling a little bit debilitated, or we're feeling a little bit not fully in our strength. Mars, it's in Cancer, so things can feel very, especially with all this Pisces energy, maybe emotionally slippery, emotionally draining. It's like you're really having to go deep into your inner self to find that strength to push through obstacles and barriers. And that square to Chiron, I think this is about being aware of not falling into the victim mindset. Chiron is about our deepest wounds, and it shows us where we need to heal, right? So Chiron brings healing, but first it's like we have to address what needs to be healed, and that can be difficult and painful. So that's why sometimes, we can slip into the victim mindset, or we can, feel just like we can't do it with Chiron, but we can. Chiron in Aries is trying to help us heal things around our identity and anything Aries related. So things dealing with self-determination, bravery, courage, strength. So this could be a little bit emotionally frustrating because we're really having to get going here and really face things that we don't really want to face. But there is that positive energy, though, that Jupiter's offering with this trine. Even though it's retrograde, it's still there, it's still helping us. We do have Mars making that loose sextile to 2 degrees off to Uranus, and then we also have Venus coming off the sextile. Both Mars and Venus coming off to the sextile of Uranus, right? Both within a 2 degree orb. So Uranus is the planet that offers liberation, innovation, transformation. People think Pluto's all about transformation. It is on the grand scale of things, but Uranus starts that process of transformation, right? It breaks down the rings of Saturn and, breaks from the rigidity and helps us innovate, change. So Uranus in the mix here, I get it is helping us, even though Uranus is retrograde. It's showing us more so within our personal lives and more so internally where we're probably holding ourselves back until obviously it comes direct, and then this is where we can really start seeing the changes more externally with things. So this is definitely a very interesting full moon. And not only that, Venus will be conjunct Neptune on this new moon with the North Node being in Pisces. So Venus, Neptune in Pisces with the North Node being in Pisces. And the North Node is all about creating a better future. Their fate and destiny points, the North Node is trying to take us into a new future, develop and create a new future. And it's a Pisces one. So this is the time for you to tap into being more idealistic, because that's what Pisces is, right? Following the spiritual way, going on your own vision quest. Saturn is in Pisces as well, and that's about really deepening into your own spiritual vision quest, but not getting stuck in the South Node in Virgo of, Virgo deals with the reality of things, right? It's Earth, so it's things that you can touch, feel, see. Pisces is the things that you can't see, but they're just as real, right? And also Virgo can be, and I'm not bashing Virgos, right? Because I love Virgos. But Virgo can sometimes be, especially with the South Node, it can create this illusion of all these problems and, looking at the reality of things and being like, oh my God, like, you could just get so caught up in things having to be perfect, or you can get so caught up in one little problem being bigger than it needs to be. Because Pisces is also about meaning, right? So it's like, what are you giving meaning to in your life? That's what you have to focus on. Not South Node of Virgo. You can't just pick it apart and just only see problems. And the South Node isn't always bad. We need the South Node because the South Node actually helps us understand our relationship to the past, right? And so we'll find out through going to the past, right? That's why the nodes deal with past lives, right? South Node. Going back to the past, we can actually find things or discover things or even things that we have that are actually really good. But we'll also discover like things like, okay, that we need to innovate, that we need to change, that we need to do better. And I think there's a lot to do with shame in a way with that will be brought up in the collective unconscious with South Node being in Virgo, in my opinion, because Virgo shows you your shortcomings, where you can refine things and get better. But it's that gap in between to where it's the meaning we give to it. We can give the meaning of, oh, I'm not good enough. My reality's not good enough. I don't have what it takes. Because it's not happening, then I must not be good enough. Right, but it's the gap. What the meaning you give it. And I think Pisces offers us compassion, love, and grace for yourself and for other people too. So this is the time also too, especially the spiritual community, for us to really inspire other people, right? To lend a helping hand, right? To understand that everybody is struggling with problems. The whole world is, with the South Node being in Virgo. And so Neptune being here on that North Node with Venus is about compassion, love, selflessness, giving. And working together with all this Aquarius energy to create a badass future. And letting go of the old ways of things, South Node Virgo, and leaving the Capricorn world where Pluto was. And Mercury is, I find it very, I don't think it's ironic that as we leave, as we're coming into this new moon in Aquarius, Mercury's also leaving Capricorn and coming into Aquarius for this new moon. So talk about the mind and the intellect being in Capricorn, the old world, the old structures of things. Like, this is our chance here, of course, with Mercury still being in Capricorn. Or Mercury that was in Capricorn, you can say, because it's kind of shifting this week. But yeah, it's like we're stepping into a whole new world. Mercury being in Aquarius, our minds are starting to really become aware of that. Right? And Aquarius is about working together as a group, as a collective, to build a future and to innovate. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's astrology. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I am channeling here. I'm not trying to do the whole South Node Virgo thing, right? To where I have to feel like I have to hit every little thing, right? It's like North Node Pisces is about channeling and sometimes just going with the flow of things. So let's see here. And let's just go ahead and dive in. There will be some quintiles with Jupiter to that Neptune and the North Node Neptune Venus. So that's offering you a unique insight personally about yourself and your future. And it's whether or not you choose to follow that truth. And it's interesting because as soon as I saw this, the one thing that I because Pisces kind of reminds me of the dream and like magic. And Aquarius is about like a new future, new world that we're stepping into. And so it kind of really is this week, starting at the week specifically as Mercury trines the node with Neptune there. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, like going down the rabbit hole and seeing what's there, going into the unknown. Because Pisces can be, it's the moon card in tarot. So it's uncertainty. It's the unknown. but there's a whole, you don't see everything in the moon card, right, in the tarot, right? You don't see everything. You just see what the moon's lighting up, but you're aware that there's so many other things to discover, but there's only so much awareness, but you have to expand that awareness, because behind the moon card actually in the tarot is the sun. So that is, which the sun is full conscious awareness, light, right? And where's the light in the sun? Well, it's Aquarius. It's something totally innovational, new, and you could even say alien. All right, here we go. January 27th. This will be Monday. We will have the highlights of this day will be, one sec. We'll have Mercury sextile the North Node, and then we'll have Mercury come into Aquarius. So, yeah, this is pretty much the last day of Mercury being in Capricorn. Mercury's flying, by the way. And here it is down here. Mercury here is in Aquarius or in Capricorn. I gotta fix this, y'all. One sec. Here we go. So here it is. Mercury here is in Capricorn, getting ready to enter into Aquarius. It's at 28 degrees, and it will sextile the North Node. Right, so Mercury in Capricorn is all about kind of realistically looking at things, being objective, being more realistic, right? Practical, critical, work-oriented, focused. And here it is. It's coming into a sextile, which is a favorable, harmonious aspect, right? To where it's offering us a chance to kind of let go of the rigidity and allow ourselves to open up and become more aware of new things. Right, so this would be a good time to follow your intuitions, follow the spiritual guidance, ask your guides for help, ask God for help. And Pisces, again, with that North Node in Pisces, this is time to be more, to open up to your dreams, your visions, and be more idealistic and surrender and have faith and trust. Right, because with Mercury, if Mercury is sextile the North Node, the North Node, then Mercury's also trining the South Node. So this is going to show us, okay, where we can start letting go of things from the past and develop a new way forward, but developing things in a way in which is more in alignment with what our vision is for ourselves and our future. And then shortly after that, that Mercury will come into Aquarius today, or on the 29th or 27th, whenever you're watching this, right, on the 27th, to where now Mercury coming into Aquarius, this is where the intellect, the mind is really embracing that Aquarian energy of being eclectic, open-minded, right, curious to examine new things, but also really revealing to us as Mercury comes in. It'll be very close to Pluto. It's kind of showing us, our place in this new cosmic scheme of things, and it's showing us sort of the future as well of what's happening. So this moon as well will be in Capricorn, and it will sextile Saturn, right? So here it is, moon in Capricorn, sextile Saturn, and then the moon will square Chiron later in the day, just depending on where you live, right? And then it will oppose Mars. But I think with this moon sextile Saturn, we can actually ground our energy into building our ideal future with Saturn being in Pisces, right? To really work on things, find consistent rhythm, because the moon deals with rhythm and Saturn deals with obviously structure. So you're going to find consistent rhythm. So you'll find a very consistent rhythm and a grounding and a deepening of awareness to really expand your awareness into creating things, doing things. But we will have shortly, right? So we will have after that, this moon will square Chiron. And this one's interesting because, this can really bring up this moon here in Capricorn squaring Chiron. It's also going to oppose Mars at the same time. This can bring a lot of frustration. So here we have it. It's like we start the day with this grounded energy and working, and then all of a sudden, maybe we burn ourselves out. Moon square Chiron, or we can burn ourselves out. I kind of get with this when I'm picking up on intuitively. Moon square Chiron and also moon opposing Mars. This could be definitely a lot of emotional frustration. Because the moon would rather be in Cancer, and then Mars would rather be in Capricorn. 'Cause Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So there's definitely going to be frustration, almost kind of feeling like there's a lot of work that we need to do, or there's things that we want to do, but maybe not having the energy, right? Because Aries does deal with energy and self-determination and strength. And Chiron here is like maybe we have to kind of take a break, or maybe relax, or maybe push through some things here, but not overdo it. But also not beat yourself up too, or get angry and frustrated and it project it out onto others or anything like that. It's just about really taking responsibility and understanding, okay, well, this is some of the problems that I'm facing, some of the things that I have to deal with, and it's emotionally frustrating, and I don't feel like I have all the energy. I have to feel off. But you'll be able to push through with that. And, moon transits they don't last as long, right? So, yeah. So let's go to the next day here. January 28th. Now, we don't have any planets really making any aspects. We just have moon transits. There's a lot going on emotionally this day. I mean, the moon is making all types of aspects. We'll have the moon trine Uranus very early in the day. So depending on where you live, it may not happen for you, right? Maybe it's the day prior. But it'll be early in the morning, about 1:42 a.m. Central Time. So you just have to correlate that to your time. But there's a lot going on this day just with the moon. Let's just talk about that. This moon will trine Uranus here, and I think this will offer us a newer approach to things. Uranus always brings innovation in an unexpected way of doing things better, especially with this trine that's going on with the moon, right? So I think this would be us unshackling ourselves possibly from a conventional routine or way of doing something, and maybe taking a different approach to things here, or things maybe going a different route, but it's favorable. It'll be positive here. And this moon will sextile Venus here as well at the same time. So Venus is offering us in Pisces a newer way to create, also establish relationships. I would say this is good in regards to cooperation and relationships. And later on, the moon will also sextile Neptune this day. And so Neptune is the planet. It's the planet of the ideal, right? Dreaminess, intuition, spirituality. But also just benefic energy, feel-good energy, and inspiration, I would say, as well. So this is going to help us relax and help us find the flow this day, right? And also help us emotionally align too, because this moon will trine the North Node in Pisces. This will help us align here as well with the ideal future that we're wanting to create for ourselves, with that North Node being in Pisces. And then shortly after, the moon will come into Aquarius, right? So let's move this forward. Here it is, moon in Aquarius. And so this moon in Aquarius is going to conjunct the moon, or is going to conjunct Mercury, and is also going to conjunct Pluto. And so we're in the balsamic moon phase, right? So we haven't stepped into this new moon yet. We're in the dark moon period, to where I always see the dark moon, whatever planets are there right before the new moon, is sort of the hidden message for you about what that last lunation cycle was. So the last lunation cycle we had in Capricorn, this would be the message that you're getting, the realization that you're getting before we step into the new moon in Aquarius about what that lunation cycle was. And I think that there's something here. This will be us sort of being able to see and reflect, okay, wow, like I see how things have shaped up that I probably was totally unaware of how it was going to shape up. But now this is showing me Mercury conjunct Pluto with the moon. Now this is showing me emotionally and helping me understand emotionally this new world and where I'm at right now in my life, and how I can reorient myself, and how I can place myself, or just understand my relationship to things in my life more in regards to the new future that's being created, or that I'm creating, or that you're creating. Then we'll step into this new moon here. So let's go ahead. We'll go to January 29th, this new moon in Aquarius will take place at 9 degrees of Aquarius. And so, like I said, here it is. Down here, this new moon will trine Jupiter. Mercury will be conjunct Pluto with this new moon. There's a loose sextile aspect going on between Venus and Mars to Uranus right here. So this is, I think this is really us being able to innovate, being able to see new ways forward, and also liberate ourselves from the conventional patterns of doing things that will no longer serve us moving into this age of Aquarius, into this new world that we're stepping into. Right, Mercury conjunct Pluto is really helping us concentrate our mental faculties and power to focus on establishing new connections and helping us understand and relate and even communicate and talk about and socialize and participate in things that will help us all come together. And in this new moon, like I said, it's going to make these semi-squares down here. I always say it, semi-square is like a weak square, but it's tension that is still underlying. It's underlying and it's felt. So this one does have a little bit of tension, and that's what I was getting in the very beginning. That's what I was saying in the very beginning of the reading, or not the reading, but the video. Is that the amp, right, or the voltage is being turned up a little bit past normal. You ever blasted your music, and let's just say you like it loud, but sometimes maybe you put it too loud, but it's not uncomfortable enough to really do something about it, but it gets to that point where you're like, maybe I should turn it down, or you just start to feel that tension about it. That's kind of like how I see this. Right? It's like a kind of a lot of energy to kind of deal with and to understand, right, and to become aware of, right, all the Pisces energy that these semi-squares are making. There could be some stress, particularly around Venus stuff, Saturn stuff. So Venus does deal with our money, resources, relationships, cooperative energy a bit, right? Saturn does deal with discipline, structure, routine. So it's like really trying to, like having to deal with those things, right? There's underlying tension felt with those things, or difficulties, or maybe problems. And like I said, this moon will trine Jupiter later on during the day. It will, one sec here, it will sextile Chiron. So you can see here, this moon will sextile. This moon will sextile Chiron down here in Aries. So this is giving us a chance to become aware of how we can find new ways here with this Aquarius energy to heal ourselves, or to find healing, right? That can boost our self-determination, our strength. All right, let's go to the next day here. We'll go to January 30th. All right, January 30th. I would just say the big thing this day is that Uranus will go direct. So Uranus has been retrograde for quite some time, but it is going direct. So here it is. Uranus is direct. And I believe right when it's going direct, there's going to be, no. But yeah, Uranus will go direct. So finally, this is us really, Uranus deals with sudden, unexpected change. And this is kind of the power being turned back on, right? This is really things being plugged in and connected. Because, Uranus does rule, like electricity and technology and all that stuff. So definitely in the world, we could be seeing all types of new technological advances and things going on possibly with AI, the monetary system, and a bunch of stuff. Probably things happening with Bitcoin and Yeah. We'll have this moon square Uranus as well. So this just every time the moon squares Uranus, it's just expect the unexpected. Things that you thought were going to be a certain way will probably go a whole other way, and maybe it'll be a little bit frustrating or bewildering. But you can't do anything about it, right? You just kind of have to adjust to it. And it could also be too with the moon square Uranus today and on January 30th that you do feel this more of this impulse to really frustration to kind of break free from the traditional conventional ways of things of how you've been living your life or how you've been doing things, right? So you may want to shake things up, right? I'd be aware of emotional reactions too, people's emotional reactions, because moon square Uranus could also be mood swings and stuff like that. And it does happen early in the morning, right? It does happen at 5:30 a.m. my time, Central Time, so wherever you're at. And so this could probably be waking up on the wrong side of the bed. But this is also the day of Sun trine Jupiter, so there's a lot of sun. The Sun will trine Jupiter exactly today, right? So here it is, the Sun here in Jupiter, or in Aquarius here, trining Jupiter here in Gemini. So Sun trine Jupiter day is always nice, always positive. But Jupiter is retrograde, so we don't really fully get that huge positive energy. I mean, it still is positive, but But I think it's showing us just a lot of new ways we can expand and grow. But there still also is a lot of things to figure out. I get here with Jupiter being retrograde in Gemini and things to make sense of. But it's all positive. I feel, and I think it's more so about things that you maybe already knew, and so maybe it's like now it's the time for you to do those things or something. Yeah, I would say with that Sun trine Jupiter, capitalize on the positive energy that you'll feel that day. And this is probably going to be a lot of communication happening this day as well. A lot of stimulation and really invigorating energy. Things possibly even being revealed, things being announced in the world. Mercury conjunct Pluto, right? That maybe have been under wraps that will really be brought out into the world. And just maybe things in your own life that you've been planning. This will probably be the time where you feel excited here to really launch those things or step fully into those things or take more chances or start opening up the doors here that you've been wanting to open up in your life. And Mercury is starting to combust the Sun down here as well. So this is kind of a lot of things happening, and it's almost in a way like Mercury combusting the Sun is like when our mental faculties kind of start breaking down a bit, communication starts breaking down a bit. And so in a way it's all this information, all this newer things happening, but also still trying to make sense of things, and things possibly feeling a little bit, I don't want to say frustrating, I don't think that's the right word, but there's still just a lot to figure out. Which is okay, right? It's like we're constantly figuring things out anyways, no matter what. All right, let's go to the 31st. Not much is really happening this day. We'll have the moon square Jupiter. So here it is. This moon down here in Pisces will square Jupiter. So I'd say, that moon in Pisces is all about contemplation, meditation, intuitive insights, going with the flow. And that square to Gemini, or that square to Jupiter in Gemini, it's like there could be things that we're trying to figure out, and there being like a lot of things to figure out, or just a lot of things that we're trying to figure out, and it maybe not making sense, right? And it could be kind of maybe frustrating emotionally. But that moon in Pisces says contemplate, like really just relax, right? Meditate and see what you feel more guided to do. And then the moon will conjunct Saturn here as well. So this is really moon conjunct Saturn is always feels uncomfortable in a way. Moon and Saturn don't really get along. So it can feel very uncomfortable, or there's a lot of pressure that you'll feel with it being there. But I think Pisces it's really wanting you have to become aware. I always say Pisces is about deepening awareness, right? That's why it deals with depth, introspection, reflection. It does deal with like our dreams and our visions and fantasy and stuff like that too, and our ideals. But Saturn is more so that planet that calls forth for discipline and structure. So it's like we kind of have to get serious around becoming aware how we can really build things and do things. All right, let's go to the next day here because that's all that's happening. We'll go to February 1st. And this is like a moon-packed day. And this is also, Venus is conjuncting the North Node here and Neptune. And so it really starts on the 31st, this Venus conjunct Neptune. And so, I would say Venus here with Neptune and the North Node. I think this is the time to surrender, let go, and allow ourselves to open up to a more ideal future, right? To rely more on our imagination, rely more on our intuition. Yes, you have to balance it out with the South Node being here in Virgo. So you're going to have to, of course, be practical about things and realistic to some degree about things. But I think this is more so about the North Node is trying to take us really into a new future. Because that's what the North Node does. And with Venus Neptune being there, it's taking Venus and Neptune like, okay, it could be bringing up a lot of things about relationships, what you're trying to create, what your values are, and really helping us come into spiritual alignment with all those things, especially with Neptune being here. So you also feel probably this big pull to really start creating your dreams and really connect to your visions. So it's a big spiritual upgrade here in a way. I mean, Pisces energy can bring escapism, so I would just be aware of that. You don't want to escape in the wrong ways, right? Especially with Neptune being there, or self-sabotage, right? But you do want to allow yourself to open up more to your imagination, open up more to your intuition, open up more to being more idealistic. Follow your spiritual guidance, follow your intuition. And we'll also have here on the 1st, there's so many moon transits this day. I'm like looking at the list. I'm like, geez, this is like definitely a very sensitive, probably emotional day. But I think it's all good aspects. So really, I would say listen to, your intuition, go with the flow, and let's see here. So, like I said, that moon will be conjunct Venus, Neptune, North Node. All right, so definitely us emotionally being pulled into a whole new future and accepting it, right? Surrendering to it and being like, okay, how can I really create from this place the ideal reality that I want? That moon will come into, this is interesting too, because that moon will come into Aries. That moon will come into Aries here. And it's going to sextile Pluto. Right? And so once the moon comes out of Pisces, it's kind of in this kind of, dreamy, kind of floating, flowy energy. And then when it comes into Aries, Aries is all about action, right? And definition and taking charge and just really moving forward with things, right? And so that's why, Aries is all about passion, action. And it's going to sextile the Pluto, which is helping us really understand how we can take charge, take the lead emotionally, and act on things. To build here and to understand the new world with Pluto and Aquarius. Right. Also, Moon sextile Pluto can give us concentration and even more drive and focus and determination and resilience, right, to really get innovative. All right, last day here be February 2nd. All right, so the moon here, this is the last day of the week. This will be Sunday. Yeah, the moon will also this day will sextile Mercury. The moon here will also sextile Mercury in Aquarius. So this is the mind and the intellect, or our mind and our emotions being on the same page. Right, and this is allowing for us to understand how we can take empowered action and take charge of that moon in Aries and start thinking in different ways, having conversations, just understanding how we can find that sense of empowerment through being eclectic, right, Aquarius, through being innovational, through, I always, the Mercury in Aquarius is actually the Six of Swords in the tarot. So it's like moving out of rough waters and moving more into calm waters, or moving in just new directions in general, opening up our minds to new directions, to new things. So that'll feel good. And then we'll at the same time, Moon will be sextiling Jupiter, and so there's this positivity and this growth and this expansion. I would say this will be a very communicative day as well. You'll probably really be wanting to speak your mind. A lot of people will be wanting to speak their mind. Because Mercury is getting close to sextiling Jupiter. So again, Jupiter Mercury is all about the collective social sphere and communication and conversation and intellectual pursuits. You can even say politics. Probably a lot going on in politics this day, or building up, I would say. And then we'll also have, the moon will make a sextile to the sun. So this will be a day to where there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity to really understand how we can find an empowered way emotionally forward, and to really start taking the lead and taking charge and finding that self-determination to make bold moves. And I think that's perfect as we end the week, right, for Sunday, and we go into Monday. So there's a lot going on for the week, and I'm actually pretty excited about this week. Again, we're stepping into a whole new world, and this is just the beginning, right? We're going to have Neptune come out of Pisces, come into Aries. We're going to have Saturn come into Aries this year. We're going to have Uranus switch out of Taurus, come into Gemini. So we have this fire, air. So we're going from earth, water to fire, air. So it's just a very amplified, extroverted energy that we're stepping into this year. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I appreciate everyone for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button for me. And again, I do offer readings. I am a tarot reader as well. I do have a tarot YouTube channel. If you're newer to my channel, I'm Austin's Tarot. And I do offer readings, so I'll try to remember to put that in the description if you would like to book a reading with me. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. And I think it'll be a good week. I think it's definitely a week to where, again, we're being fully plugged into the age of Aquarius. The voltage is up a little bit higher than normal. And there is a lot of things that we're becoming aware of that is very, I want to say, kind of futuristic, and this our future in general that we're thinking about, and just the future really being shaped. So, all right, not fully, of course, right? But I would say this is the start. So, nonetheless, I appreciate you all, and I will see you later.